Values education. Education value is the process by which people give moral values to each other. According to Pony et al., it can be an activity that can take place in any human organization, during which people are assisted by others who may be older, in a condition experienced to make explicit our ethics in order to assess the effectiveness of these values and associated behavior for their own and others' long-term well-being, and to reflect on and acquire other values and behavior which they recognize as being more effective for long-term well-being of self and others. There is a difference between literacy and education. There has been very little reliable research on the results of values education classes, but there are some encouraging preliminary results. One definition refers to it as the process that gives young people an initiation into values, giving knowledge of the rules needed to function in this mode of relating to other people, and to seek the development in the student a grasp of certain underlying principles, together with the ability to apply these rules intelligently and to have the settled disposition to do so. Some researchers use the concept values education as an umbrella of concepts that includes moral education and citizenship education. Themes that values education can address to varying degrees are character, moral development, religious education, spiritual development, citizenship education, personal development, social development, and cultural development. There is a further distinction between explicit values education and implicit values education. Explicit values education is associated with those different pedagogies, methods, or programs that teachers or educators use in order to create learning experiences for students when it comes to value questions. Another definition of values education is learning about self and wisdom of life in a self-exploratory, systematic, and scientific way through formal education. According to C.V. Good, values education is the aggregate of all the process by means of which a person develops abilities and other forms of behavior of the positive values in the society in which he lives. Commonality in many educations. Moral education. Morals as social, legal, religious norms are supposed to help people behave responsibly. However, not all morals lead to responsible behavior. Values education can show which morals are bad morals and which are good. The change in behavior comes from confusing questions about right and wrong. American psychologist Lawrence Kohlberg, who is specialized in research in moral education and reasoning and was best known for his theory of stages of moral development, believed children needed to be in an environment that allowed for open and public discussion of day-to-day conflicts and problems to develop their moral reasoning ability. Teacher education. Cross has made a start at documenting some teacher training attempts. Living Values Education Program. This project of worldwide proportions, inspired by the new religious movement called the Brahma Kumaris World Spiritual University, incorporates 12 values: unity, peace, happiness, hope, humility, simplicity, trust, freedom, cooperation, honesty, courage, and love, and has formed the basis of the whole school ethos approach in schools such as West Kidlington Primary School. Kidlington, whose headmaster Neil Hawkes and values education coordinators Linda Heppenstall used the work and other programs to help them form a values-based school. The Living Values Education Program websites list 54 countries where values education projects are undertaken. Let's go now to Human Values Foundation. The Human Values Foundation was established in 1995 to make available worldwide a comprehensive values-themed program for children from 4 to 12 years entitled Education in Human Values. Its fully resourced lesson plans utilize familiar teachings, techniques of discussion, storytelling, quotations, group singing, activities to reinforce learning, and times of quiet reflection. Following the success of EHV, a second program was published. Social and Emotional Education, primarily for ages 12 to 14, but it has also proved constructive for other children identified as likely to benefit from helping getting their lives back on track. The programs enable children and young people to explore and put into practice a wide spectrum of values with the potential to enrich their lives. Through experiential learning, over time participants develop a well-considered personal morality, all the while gaining invaluable emotional and social skills to help them lead happy, fulfilled, successful lives. Character education. Character education is an umbrella term generally used to describe the teaching of children in a manner that will help them develop as personal and social beings. However, this definition requires research to explain what is meant by personal and social being. Concepts that fall under this term include social and emotional learning, moral reasoning, cognitive development, life skills education, health education, violence prevention, critical thinking, ethical reasoning, and conflict resolution and mediation. Klikona mentions 11 principles of successful character education. It seems to have been applied in the UK and the United States. And now we go to Science of Living. Science of Living, open parenthesis, Jivan Vigyan, semicolon, Jivan equals life, and Vigyan equals to science, close parenthesis, is a detailed program that complements the current educational approach with spiritual and values-based learning. While both mental and physical development is needed for a student's growth, Jivan Vigyan adds a third pillar, that of emotional intelligence and morality or values, to education in schools and colleges. A combination of theory and practice, Jivan Vigyan draws on the findings of various life sciences as well as nutritional sciences. Our parasympathetic nervous system and endocrinal system are known to be the drivers of our emotions and our behavior. These biological centers can be influenced the science of living through a system of yogic exercises, breathing exercises, meditation, and contemplation. Science of Living's source of inspiration is Jain Acharya, Ganatipati Shri Tulsi, 1914 to 1997. His thoughts were further developed and expanded by Acharya Shri Mahapragya, 1920 to 2010. Currently, Muni Shri Kishan Lal Ji, under the leadership of Acharya Shri Mahashraman, is the principal of SOL, Science of Living. Examples of values education from around the world. Taylor gives a true overview of values education in 26 European countries. Australia. The Australian government currently funds values education in its schools with its own publications and funding of school forums on values education at all levels of education. It also helps in becoming a better person. A conference on moral education and Australian values was held in 2007 at Monash University. India. The Indian government currently promotes values education in its schools. The Ministry of Human Resource Development has taken a strong step to introduce values among schools and teachers' training centers. Indonesia. A key feature of education in Indonesia is the 5 principles of Pancasila. Japan. Elementary school and middle school students from 1st to 9th grades will be taught the importance of life, to listen to others with different opinions, to be fair, respect their country, and learn about foreign cultures. Singapore. Teacher training institutions in Singapore all have curricular for learning to teach civics and moral education programs. But students do not take this as seriously as they should due to lack of assessment. The reason has been said to be the lack of innovative teaching approaches such as discourse pedagogy. Sweden. Values education is a part of Swedish schools, whereas the formal curricula are about educating students to be competent, democratic citizens by practicing student participation. Qualitative studies have shown that in everyday school life, values education and school democracy often appear to be reduced to traditional disciplining with a high focus on rules and regulations. This in turn evokes some critics among students. Most research on values education in Sweden is done by qualitative methods, especially ethnographic or field studies, as well as a focus group and interview studies. Some studies have been conducted by survey and other quantitative methods. In addition, theoretical work with roots in Dewey and Habermas has been done on deliberative democracy and deliberative conversation in schools. We go now to Thailand. In Thailand, values have traditionally been taught within the context of Buddhist religious education. Since 1982, there has been a revival of applied values as an extracurricular activity suitable for Buddhist, Muslim, and Christian students alike to prepare Thai students for the effects of globalization. We go now to United Kingdom. Since 1988, the British government, although not recognizing or calling it values education, has promoted and respected values in the guise of spiritual, moral, social, and cultural development, leaving the initiative to individual schools to decide how values education standards should be met. It is not clear whether there are standards or values education. The government and state school systems have never called it values education. Values education course in Britain may be implemented in the form of government-supported campaigns such as social and emotional aspects of learning, but are more often provided by local experts in the form of living values education program.